right, we heard this just a minute ago. The audio tape of Michael Jackson clearly impaired, under the influence of something. It was played again in court today, about 4 minutes long. Also, there was a voice message from Michael's manager expressing some concern about Michael Jackson's health. Criminal defense attorney Eric Chase joins us live in studio right now to break down day 7 of the Conrad Murray trial. Welcome, first of all.
Good to be here.
I want to start with the tape of Michael Jackson. When you hear it, it's painful to listen to. It's 4 minutes long. It feels like it goes on forever. Now, I know we heard about it in the opening statements. People talked about in court today, the Jackson family was visibly upset when they heard it. It went on, as I said, for a long time. Does the prosecution run the risk of, I don't know,
overplaying its hand?
Yes, yes, yes.
Well, I think the prosecution in this case has done that a lot. We saw that when they put the 3 girlfriends of Dr. Murray on, and I think we saw it again when they not only played the tape, but emphasized the emotional aspect of it. That's not what this case is about. As a defense attorney, I actually love it when a prosecutor oversteps like this, because the jury's thinking, that's not what this case is about. Please don't play to my emotions. And if I'm a defense attorney, they've given me an opening.
And, well, how do you blunt that when you get up there on cross-examination?
I don't think you have to blunt it. It is what it is. The impression you want to give the jury is it's just not relevant. We know Michael Jackson was taking lots of drugs. We know he was on drugs other than propofol that night. The reason he was acting the way he was acting may have had nothing to do with the propofol. Michael Jackson couldn't sleep. For Michael Jackson ever to go to sleep, he had to be very intoxicated on significant medication. That's all the tapes tell us. They don't tell us why he died.
When you look out and you're in the jury box and you look over and you see the family, this powerful, legendary family, and they're visibly upset, how does that resonate with the jury?
Oh, it certainly affects the jury. We've already seen how celebrity affects juries' deliberations. I don't think we've seen yet the reverse celebrity aspect that we have in this case, where the celebrity is the victim. The real celebrity, though, in these cases comes from the celebrity of the jury itself. I think the jury, at the end of the case, starts thinking about what's going to be best for me when this case is over. How am I going to get on a show like this? What type of verdict is going to... I do think they think about that in high-profile cases. I think it affected the O.J. Simpson case. I think it affected Michael Jackson's trial when he was on trial for child molestation. I'm not sure if it's going to affect this trial as much, but I think to some extent it does affect juries in their deliberations.
All right, let's talk about what else we saw in court today. We actually heard a message from Michael Jackson's manager. Let's listen into that.
Dr. Murray, it's Frank DeLeo, Michael's manager. I'm the short guy with no hair. Would you please call me at 213-304-9110. I'm sure you're aware he had an episode last night. He's sick. Today's Saturday. Tomorrow I'm on my way back. I'm not going to continue my trip. I think you need to get a blood test on him today. We got to see what he's doing. All right, thank you.
Mr. Marks, is that the audio voicemail recording you found on Conrad Murray's iPhone?
Yes, it is.
And you indicated you were able to timestamp that voicemail recording as being left on June 20th, 2009?
That's right.
Okay, we just heard this was left on June 20th. Clearly, this is Michael Jackson's manager who's very concerned about Michael Jackson's health. Why is this important to the prosecution?
I don't think it is important to the prosecution. I'm not sure why they're playing it. Look, Michael Jackson died that night from an overdose of propofol mixed with other drugs. We know Michael Jackson was taking drugs, like I said before. The fact that his manager was concerned, that's why they hired Dr. Murray in the first place. That's why they brought him in, because Michael Jackson was having problems. And in fact, that's going to be the centerpiece of the defense case, as we saw in the defense opening statement, was that Michael Jackson was a drug user and drug abuser, and his own actions led to his own death. And I think that the tape from the manager actually plays into that.
You don't think the argument is that, look, even a layperson here can see that Michael Jackson is visibly impaired in some way? You're his doctor. You need to take care of this.
We all know Michael Jackson was impaired. Even outsiders looking in, the whole world knew Michael Jackson had a drug problem. The issue of what the doctor did, though, is that night. The doctor's job was to keep him stable so that he could perform. That's what he was hired for. The question that night was, did he negligently cause his death? And the fact that he was a drug addict and impaired and had problems and needed help, we don't need any tapes to tell us that.
All right, let's talk about the testimony from the coroner. And we saw the prosecution lay out all the propofol on a table. It was directly in front of the jury today. Your take on that?
That has an effect. I mean, trials are about drama, and laying the stuff out on the table is dramatic. But again, remember, we're at the very early stages of this trial. The trial is going to focus, as the defense said in their opening statement. I'm trying to decide whether the defense did a very good strategic decision or made a mistake in laying their defense out so bluntly in the opening statement when they said Michael Jackson injected himself with the propofol. That becomes the entire case. And we're going to talk about a lot of things as the case progresses, but when the case is over, I think that's all that's going to matter to this jury, is when Dr. Murray left the room, did Michael Jackson inject himself, or did, as Dr. Murray has claimed, only give him a quarter of his usual dosage?
Now, some people were in court today, observed that, you know, this was all laid out on the table, but the prosecution was very, very methodical in how they presented the propofol case. They went through and they cut each and every bag, that the evidence bag that this stuff was in, and it just sort of took long time. Could they be losing the jury? Because up until now, this has been really clipping along, and then all of a sudden it was like it came to a screeching halt this afternoon.
You know, the prosecutors have to some extent gotten caught up in the drama and the celebrity of the case. They know it's being televised, and cameras do affect how trials proceed, and that's why most courts aren't allowing cameras in. It's not because of the publicity, it's because it affects the trial itself. And I don't think that would have happened if the cameras had been off. I'm not sure if the jury was bothered by it. Obviously, I wasn't there in the courtroom. But I do think the prosecution needs to focus on the facts of the case and not try and make this an emotional case. That plays right into the defense hands.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in and breaking down today for us.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.